Hi friends, Concy here from atop Serenity Hill, and today I have a new deck to share with you. This is very exciting. This is a deck that has been basically 4 years in the making. It is my and Shemi Dixon's Start with a Mark deck. This is the box, and I'll share that in a minute. And how this came about is 4 years ago, we collaborated and started a challenge called Start with a Mark. Here it is. 2023 was our first year, and it was the first one. I think the first and the second one were both, or maybe the first, the first and the second were both in January. And so it was a 21-day challenge starting on January 1st, where we gave you a mark and you did something every day. Okay, so this was my mark every day based on what was here. I also completed an entire art journal page every day, I added to it with the marks. So this was 2023. Then we had 2024. And in 2024, I made this giant zine and I drew a doodle every day based on the mark. So these were these were the doodles. I just realized it's been 2 years, y'all. These were the doodles. So this would be lattice. And then on the inside, I put down lattice somewhere as just a quick idea of the mark so that you could get the idea. And then, so I finished this little zine based on doodles and then just a simple mark within this page. And then last year, I did it twice. I did it both on Instagram and on YouTube, and I made these little tags. So the tag actually it was a printable that you could get that year, and it had the word on it. And then I did each one as a mark, whatever mark came up, whatever mixed media mark. I also on YouTube made this little fold out folio thingamabobby, and it even had pockets, okay, that I put all the marks on, and I was a little more expressive about how I made the marks, okay? So I made more of like an art journal page for each of the marks. And by the way, all of these I have either walkthrough videos or, how I did it, playlists, all those things for the last 3 years below. They'll be linked below. I will also link Shemi's YouTube and Instagram channels so that you can go and watch what she did. She decided to do it again this year in 2026. She did it alone in February. And while she was doing that, I created a deck. And so we ended up with a deck that you can use all the time using the last 4 years of prompts. There might be a few extras in here because we ended up with 72 cards for the deck. And so each one has the prompt, a little idea of maybe what to do with that, just to give you some starting points. And then it has some kind of background just to give you, well, one, to give it interest because we're artists and we like interest. And two, just to give you an idea of like, what would erosion look like? These are like clouds drifting in the background. There's 2 anchors. There's a push pin and then a push in place, like a pin, drop a pin, I guess, for those of us that, use GPS. And then, just something in the background, tangle, halo, chain, so you can see where we were going with this. So it is a printable, and I did not cut all of them, all 72, because I wanted to show you. It comes 6 up on a sheet. Okay, each of the cards are 3 by 3. So when you're cutting them, it might be easier to, cut one line and then cut them 3 inches by 3 inches because they're 3-inch square. And so you get, I think there's 12 sheets, 12 times 6 is 72, for you to cut out. And they're all done in black and white. We wanted to have a deck that was very different from me and Shemi's artwork is very colorful, and we wanted this to be very graphic. The idea of mark making can feel very graphic. Obviously, I have taken it and Shemi has taken it in many different ways, but we wanted you to feel, like this could be the basic mark. Literally pick up a pen, make a mark, okay? Black and white. So the other thing that comes with the printable is this sheet, which when you cut it out, you can see that it's lighter on sections, and then you cut it out, all right? And this is just on a piece of paper. I did it, I will cut it, I did print it on cardstock. I print everything on cardstock, but my prototype, just to show you, is on just regular printer paper so that I could show you how to put it together. I also have videos on how to put it together for this deck and another deck. So I'll link all these videos below so you can go down the rabbit hole of my YouTube channel. So once you cut it out, you can see that there are lines where to fold it, okay? And then these little wings here are folded really easy. You fold it in all the way, see? Okay, let me do it a knot against this paper, against this here. Then I folded it back and then folded it back again. So you end up with this accordion here. Oops, sorry, let me flip it this way. It's an accordion, okay, and those are your sides. So here is this box. So you can see the accordion right here, all right? So you're just folding it up and you're gluing down this little section to the side of the box. And yes, it's a little bit fiddly. Give yourself a little bit of space and time and patience to do it. But once you glue it down, this to this, then you have your box, okay? And then it's just the top just folds over. I use a Velcro dot for both of them, I've used a Velcro dot for all of them to seal it because it's just quick, easy, down and dirty. You can use whatever closure you like. So when you put this box together, it would be like this. And then if you start collecting my decks, you'll see that you'll have a collection of these little boxes and decks because I love this shape for my decks. So that will give you, you know, a collection if you wanted to go down and have all the prompts, all right? So again, we have the start with a mark. It started here, 2023, okay? Very simple, you know, the mark, this one, I'm trying to think, this one was thick and thin, where I put down washi tape as thick and thin. Metallic was just a metallic marker. One word, I found a word, I just glued it down. So, you know, when you are struggling with how to start anything, any creative project, especially art journaling, mixed media projects, which is what Shemi and I teach and what we love doing, that's where start with a mark. Sometimes you just want to begin, you just put a mark down and you get going, okay? These are literal. If you were just to start a page with just some, you know, cross hatching, you would get a start. You could start filling it in with color. You could start collaging on top of it. You could just keep pulling marks, all right, which is what technically this art page is, and then just keep adding to it over and over and over again, and just see. It's going to go through, this page went through 21 days of layers. It's got 21 layers on it, and it went through a very ugly stage, y'all, very ugly. But after a while, you know, the next mark would give me another idea, and the mark after that would give me a new idea, and it started to get my brain, you know, activated and excited and tapped into maybe some deeper creativity and finding supplies I might not have thought of. I want you to think about it as sometimes the first mark is the first thought you had, and by the time you hit like 5-6 marks, you start to dive deeper into what a mark means or what a prompt means, going past your first initial idea, okay? So I hope you're excited about the deck. You can find, it is a printable deck, obviously, and you can find the link to buy it in my Etsy store below. And I would love to know if you have participated in Start With a Mark. Feel free to leave a comment below. Do you own one of my other decks? Do you use prompt decks? You know, like, I am a huge fan. If you've been around me at all, I use prompt decks all the time, especially in my YouTube lives. I love using prompt decks because I'm spontaneously creating, that's the word I'm looking for, creating during that space. And I sometimes just draw a blank, so I pull a prompt, okay? And that's where, you know, whatever prompt comes up. Recently, I pulled a prompt that said stitch and drew something very similar to this. It said add stitching to your page. Well, that is adding stitching to my page. It's a needle and thread. Okay, so I hope you'll enjoy it, and I will see you in some other videos playing with the deck, or please join me on a YouTube Live. If you would like to know more about what I do as a creative, then don't forget to get on my email newsletter that is below. I also have a membership called the Creative Playground, and all that information, everything you could need that I talked about during this video is going to be below in the description. All right, friends, thank you. See you soon.